It is the Matt Mosley Show, the Masters version. I've just kind of let the Twitter audience know, our X audience, that we're going live. So Kev will have a bunch of people coming in via Twitter. Our YouTube audience is there as always at 1 o'clock. They did not see us yesterday. And we appreciate everybody for understanding. I don't know how much I made this clear, because for a couple of days I was having trouble even like sort of talking about it. But my grandmother's funeral was yesterday, and it's a little bit odd for someone of my age, still young, still somewhat young, but to have a grandmother still living. I was extremely fortunate that she made it to nearly 103. I feel like you should be able to round up if you get that far. But we lost her last Monday, and yesterday my sister and I were able to speak at her funeral. My daughter and her 3 cousins sang, and my nephew, who's a KOT at Baylor, was playing the guitar. So that was awesome, and singing, and just a really great, beautiful ceremony there. And so we were that's what I was doing yesterday during the show, saying goodbye to one of the greatest women I've ever known, and Frances Lawrence. We said goodbye to her. Frances Hendricks Lawrence, I should say, because the Hendricks, boy, they're a strong group, and a lot of them were in attendance yesterday. She has left us at age 102. So thank you for everybody who, and I've had some really nice notes. Some of this is up on Facebook and some remembrances. And then I had the privilege of writing the obituary, which I'm a longtime writer, so I don't mind doing that. But Kev, it was an honor to do it. But the only thing about writing an obituary is, even the people that write it for newspapers, obviously people have to send them all the information to kind of assemble that. And then people try to put the obituary together, and the writers at like the Morning News or wherever will kind of help them. Well, I'm a writer, editor, all those things. So I don't, require any help with that in a sense. The only thing that drives me, it drives you kind of crazy on something like that, is the thought that you might leave somebody out. Then you start mentioning all the nieces and nephews and all the great grandchildren and blah, blah, and it's just like, oh my gosh, someone who lives to 102, fortunately has a lot of awesome family. And it's like, wait, do I have to mention the husbands or spouses of the nieces and nephews? And like, I don't think so, but but again, a lot of those folks are great friends and very close with us. So that's always interesting to try to navigate that. But everybody seemed to like the obit. And Kevin, you may not be a huge Facebook guy, but I'll send it along to you, because I think you'll not just because I want to read Mosley, but I'll send it along to you because it's a story about a remarkable lady. And it's just still kind of crazy to imagine she's gone, even though she was 102. She was with me my entire life. All right, Kev, we go straight into that and I'm wearing, in fact, I still have a Masters shirt that I bought for my buddy Brian Dalberg, who lives in Longview, and I've never given it to him. I think this was from about this year. So it's about 26, 27 years ago. I was at this Masters, won by Jose Maria Olazabal, and he had 2 green jackets. I believe Jose Maria won 2 green jackets. May have been his only 2 majors. Somebody will correct me on that if I have it wrong, but pretty amazing. And in fact, as I say that, fellow Spaniard John Rahm, I'm watching one of his shots. Will I be a bit distracted today? Absolutely. And one of the reasons, Kevin, it's so awesome, the Masters finally over the years decided to allow more of the tournament to get on TV. And they've kind of gotten in with the times by, okay, ESPN will do Thursday and Friday. We'll have some stuff on CBS. We'll have some, of course, some extra kind of things up on Paramount Plus. Amazon Prime is bringing some of the coverage today. And so I'm watching live coverage, Kev, on Amazon Prime. There's no telling, how much, again, and those partnerships over the years, I have limited commercials, which are kind of nice. I mean, we love our partners, but when you're watching, like on our show, but when you're watching a major, it's kind of nice not to have to go to commercial constantly. And one year when there was folks threatening to protest, and I won't get too far into that, but the Masters, as only it could, just said, you know what, we're not going to have any commercials. We're going to bring you our tournament with no commercials. Just to give you a bit of an update, Kev, and our folks who maybe aren't able to watch all of this, and I'm not going to spend the entire day, I promise you, bringing you Masters updates, although some of the day. I will say, unfortunately, Scotty Scheffler, who went in the drink on number 13, just took a bogey to fall down to 1 under. So that means that he is now 4 strokes off the lead. He's okay, but he just hadn't really done much today. You really kind of need to, on a Friday, kind of need to make up some ground and get things moving. And he really has not scored much. He hadn't gone. He's like 1 over, I think, for the day. Tyrrell Hatton has made a move. The Hatton, I think, is an Englishman. Very angry guy, but he's having a great day. He is tied for the lead with Rory McIlroy, who's playing on the second hole right now. And then Justin Rose, another Englishman, has played well today, and he is 1 stroke off the lead as we speak. Patrick Reed, the American who played college golf in Augusta, has moved into he is in second place. And then Ben Griffin, who's come on these last 2 years on the PGA Tour, just made a putt, and then he is hanging in there on that leaderboard. He's right up there, about 2 strokes off the lead. Wyndham Clark had one of the rounds of the day so far, fired a 68, 4 under par 68, and now sits 1 stroke off the lead. And then Kev, I think of really importance to our folks, and unfortunately he just hit a rough putt, but Brooks Koepka is only 2 strokes off the lead. And anytime Brooks gets involved, that's a 4-time major winner, I believe. But he's now coming back off the LIV Tour to be full-time again on the PGA Tour. And so it'll be fun to have him back because he is a major headliner. And you want your headliners on that leaderboard. Now, this cap's been a little beat up over the years. I don't think I've worn it that much. There's a chance I got this for another buddy, Chris Torn, and they just never gave it to him. I'm good about like getting things from my friends. I think going ahead and like giving them the gifts is a problem. I don't quite, it's kind of like, graduation gifts, wedding gifts, that kind of thing. My wife, much, much better than I am. Sometimes she sent me for years to give, like my friend from Baylor has a daughter who's now, I believe, she'll be a senior next year at Baylor. And I don't believe I've ever delivered the high school graduation gift. All right. And we apologies to Keely Browning on that. So a lot going on in the world of sports today, a lot to react to. Kev, we had some major Baylor breaking news early today. That, of course, is our breaking news sounder. And also used for the big baseball chant. Everybody would yell "charge" at the end of that. They don't do that anymore. Charge. Kevin, did you grow up with charge? Was that in your life at some point?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
I was trying to think, because I would say anybody kind of like 30 and younger, that's not a thing really. I don't think they grew up with like. I don't think
it kind of doesn't escalate.
if they heard that, they would not know to yell charge. I don't think anybody like 35 and under, which we barely miss out on. Okay, Kev, breaking news. Kev's back in our newsroom in Waco as we speak. I am at the home, and you see as I talk about the Masters today, that's so great. I've been to the British Open. I've been to the U.S. Open. I've been to the Masters 3 times. Been to the Open. I've been to the British Open. Well, they call it just the Open, but I've been over there twice. Saw Tiger win one. Saw John Daly win one. I do not think I've been to the PGA Championship for some reason. It's odd. I don't know why not, but I think that's the one major I have not attended. But anyway, Kevin, let's do it one more time with the breaking news since I can't quite get there. We become the first person on the YouTube. I don't know who has YouTube shows this afternoon, but we know that Smokey and them don't come on till after us. Pete, I don't know. It may have happened on his watch, but I don't know if he was able to address it or not. Cam would have been off, doing something, worried about this Patriot story involving Mike Vrabel and a female reporter. I don't know if he really was able to react to it or focus on this. But Tunde Yesufu, the Baylor's great freshman, has declared for the NBA draft. Now, as noted by Scotty B and others, we had a lot of people who follow our show, and they quickly to note that he did not say whether he was preserving his college eligibility. He thanked Baylor. He thanked Scott Drew. This morning, I noticed, Kevin, he was shooting down a story like saying, hey, there's no truth to this. I still have to talk to Coach Drew and talk to all the people. So, and that was a report on like 247 or KSR, something to do with Kentucky. I didn't know why they had it. But anyway, it was out there. And then Tunde kind of tried to shoot it down. And because I think Tunde wanted to come out with his own nice deal. Now, my initial thought on this, Kevin, was he's doing Baylor a favor. Get the word out there. They don't waste time trying to negotiate and trying to, save a bunch of money for a guy who is likely going to turn pro and go through the process. Now let me explain one thing. If he does preserve his eligibility, his agents would know that he would command a lot of money in the portal. All right. I mean, honestly, Flory Badunga, maybe a little bit more because he's been so productive at Kansas, but not much more. Somebody would love to have a 6'5", 6'6" dude who can be a guard, kind of an undersized wing, but can defend several positions because of his strength, getting better as a shooter, getting better as a finisher. Kevin, if this guy were in the portal, I'm trying to think of some of the guys who've gone in the portal, I think he'd be top 5. I really do. I mean, and you say, well, what about Badunga? What about this guy? I get it. There's some really good players out there, but I would have him in the top 5. And it would be a shame if he ended up on another roster. But, I mean, there would be a huge feeding frenzy for him. Now, would he give Baylor first choice or first right of refusal? Maybe. I mean, again, you got to remember, these agents, once they get involved, they're really have a huge sway over these players. I do think Tunde loves Baylor. I mean, he played in the Crown. In the whole scheme of things, let's just be honest, the Crown is not much. All right, the Crown is not. Maybe it was, nice to try to get the players a little bit of money, but the Crown was not a big deal. And yet Carr and Tunde wanted to play with their team, want to be with their teammates. I think he's got what our buddy Aranda would say, big care factor. He's got a large care factor. So I love this kid and would love to see him back for the Bears. I would put that scenario at about like 2% chance. All right. Like I'd give Cam Carr more like of coming back to Baylor and playing another year. I'd give it a 50, like a 10% or 15% chance, maybe 20 at tops. Problem with Carr is that depending on how long he plays it out, Baylor's not going to know how much to try to save for him. And my gosh, if he ever gets to the NBA Combine, it's going to be scary. All right, because he's going to jump over mountains. He's going to dunk on everybody. Now I don't know what his shot will look like. He at times he's an electric scorer, but I just don't know that some of that stuff will look like. But when it comes to the measurements, his wingspan, his vertical, some of that stuff, he's just going to be off the charts. I think he's going to jump higher than VJ did. How high did VJ Edgecombe jump? 39 or 40? Was it 40? I don't know. It was a lot. There was some other player that had a higher vertical than him that surprised me. But I think Cam Carr may have, let's think here. I think he could have a 45-inch vertical. I think Tunde might have a 38 or 39. These are explosive players. Now, Baylor's where, I'm thinking back on this season, and I can't help but think about, we were so tough on that Rutgers coach because he had those 2 lottery picks at Rutgers, and it didn't amount to anything. They didn't even make the tournament. Baylor didn't make the tournament, and they had these 2 first-rounders. Now, unfortunately, what they put around them was not good. All right, Isaac got better. Caden played his tail off. I'm not talking about those players, but they just weren't able to surround them with the kind of team that you need. I think we got a firsthand look at in the tournament with what needs to be built. Michigan and Illinois, and those some of those great teams in UConn. It was just size. It's like you didn't see a bunch of little 6'1" guards. All right, about the smallest person you saw for the Illini was 6'2", but he was a load. Their point guard, I don't even really know who their point guard was. It was like this 6'2" bruiser, and then everybody else was 6'7" or bigger. Just monsters. At Michigan, they had Cadeau, who's probably listed at about 6'1", and what is Cadeau? Cadeau was probably, I don't know. He can't be much over 6'2" if he's that. But you had him, and then just a team of monsters, and then monsters coming off the bench. So I'm not saying you have to do everything like that, but it's still okay to build and have a lot of size. Kelvin's been doing it for a while in the Big 12. I guess Kansas tries to do it. Tech's kind of interesting. They had this year, when they were healthy, they had 3 really good guards. Petty's in the portal, by the way. He was their freshman guard this year. Anderson is about 6'4", I think. He's got great NBA size for a point guard. He's fine. And then they had Atwell, who was 6'5". So they really had good size at guard. They played a 3-guard offense, and then they had Watts at 6'7", kind of playing a wing, small forward. And then they had Toppin at 6'7". So they weren't huge. They did bring a couple of big guys in, but they kind of did it with some great guards and then just, elite, what you'd call, for them, he played more of a power forward, center, whatever you want to call it. Toppin was just a great scorer who nobody could stop, even though the entire arena knew he was trying to get to his left. All right. And in this Masters, by the way, you see some of the great, the most inventive putts you can ever imagine, where somebody, aims a whole nother way and then lets the ball come back down to the deal. I just saw Spieth do something wild, which is just turn his back basically all the way away from the hole and then putt out to a spot and then watch where the ball is going to go. You have to be creative. You have to be Spieth is just kind of having a so-so day. He's at even, and of course he's just all over the course as he usually is. And then again, I just want a quick update on the Masters. McIlroy is in the lead, and Justin Rose and Tyrrell Hatton and Sam Burns are one stroke back, tied for second place. All right. And then the one thing I was going to tell you before we looked at one of these other things real quick. Oh my gosh, Kev, we've already gotten to 130. Is that, Rose is going to stay one back. He just had a birdie putt. I almost I was trying to find one of my Masters shirts, although I've tried to keep one of them never worn in case I ever get it to my buddy, Brian, who lives in Longview, as I was discussing earlier. Kev will have some Campus Confidential coming up at 2:00. Ashley Hodge is going to join us, and that'll be nice because Ashley can kind of weigh in on Toon Day, weigh in on potential Baylor coaching staff changes, and Ashley and I, longtime buddies, and so we'll be able to really sound off on what the Baylor roster should look like. That interview is going to take place at 2:00 today, and Ashley and I'll have a good time. That's going to be about 30 minutes away. After that, we'll do some NFL. Now, I promised you some Cowboys draft talk. Kev, let's do something here. What we're going to do is they had a nice, smart discussion on ESPN. Everybody always complains, oh, Stephen A., I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. Oh, I'm tired of Pat McAfee, blah, blah, blah. I don't like this. This is ridiculous. This was really interesting because they had Kevin Clark, who does a nice job on the NFL. He used to be at The Ringer, and he's just a really talented young writer / broadcaster. All right. They had another guy who I feel like he's an NBA guy, but he was weighing in with some NFL information. Kevin, you'll see this guy. He's somewhat familiar to me, but I just couldn't quite come up with exactly who he was. And then Schrager, who's a big NFL guy, Peter Schrager, is kind of hosting the show. But they made some comments about what the Cowboys may be able to do at 12, where the Cowboys may be able to trade up to get, and what the Cowboys could land in this draft in the terms of either a pass rusher or an elite linebacker starting to fall to them. I found these comments to be very interesting. Not that we haven't discussed some of these very things, but it really drives the point home. And then here's what I want to do, Kev, and I want to give you time for some good campus. I want to play this for our folks, and then I want to react to it a little bit with some just immediate thoughts of what I think is correct, what I think might be a little bit off, and what I think this means to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's play this from the ESPN show Get Up. Let's play this right now for folks.
Situation for them, for the Cowboys, with what they need.
It's the first two guys you named, Bain and Downs. They both dominated in big games, and guess what? I think either of those guys, first of all, you run to the podium, because drafting has never been the problem for the Cowboys. This happens after they draft.
Yeah, they actually draft very well.
Yes, exactly. So the drafting isn't the issue here. The player acquisition has never been a problem. However, if they're able to get one of those guys, they're going to be immediate NFC East contenders, because they don't need much Their offense has a really high floor. Their defense, Quinn Williams, one of the best defensive tackles in the entire league. The Rashawn Gary acquisition. If you added Downs, if you added Bain, that's immediate impact. I just think they're going to be able to compete in that division, which I think is a little more wide open than it has been the last couple of years. I think that Bain is the pick there, and we know he's played a lot of ball, played into January. He's going to be able to play in big games immediately.
If you are a fan of the Cowboys, what you are praying for is What you're praying for is all the wide receivers go.
Yep.
And then you want the offensive tackles to go. And then you want to have at least one of those stud defensive players fall to you.
They should start talking up Ty Simpson. They should start, start some burner accounts. Say, hey, Ty Simpson, top 10 pick. No, I think one of those guys, because listen, safeties always underdrafted. Ruben Bain with the arm length might be underdrafted. There are guys who are going to drop. We talked about Sonny Styles. Again, I think Sonny Styles is going to end up being the best player in this draft. However, off-ball linebacker, sometimes teams overthink it. Mm-hmm. Someone will drop to the Cowboys, and it will change the complexion of the NFL next year.
Here's what's tricky, though. They're sitting there at 12 and somebody's dropping. They've also got 20 in their back pocket.
Yep.
So it's 8, and you start to get itchy, man. Caleb Downs is falling. It's 9, Sonny Styles is falling. You pick up that phone, and you start to figure out what the price is to move up. Don't even be surprised if it's David Bailey at 2 to the Jets and Arvell Reese makes it to 3. You know the Cardinals want to get out of that pick. So if I'm the Cowboys, I'm calling people on draft night.
Kev, figure out who that guy on the left is. He's familiar to me, but it's not coming to me. You know, because I've actually been around that guy at some point, but it's just not. It's not. He's somewhat familiar, but he seems too young to have been there when I was there. But anyway, they all made good points. And Schrager said, I mean, and listen, Kevin Clark, the guy from The Ringer, and I've gotten to know him a little bit. He's excellent. And we need to get him on at some point. He'd be good to have on the show. Kev, when I hear that, it's kind of like this NBA draft coming up with the Mavericks sitting there at 7 or 8 or whatever they're going to end up. There's this thought that, well, fortunately, the draft's deep enough that you feel like you're going to get a great player up in there. Now, is it deep enough in the NFL for the team picking 12th to get one of those great defenders? Well, if the answer is that the arm length thing has scared people off on Bain, then the answer is yes. Because, I mean, as much as I'm not saying the NFL is full of short-armed all-time greats, I will say the guy with the Rams that played defensive tackle for years and was one of the greatest linemen, will probably be a Hall of Famer. He had short arms. Now you say, well, Matt, he didn't play on the edge. You're right. Short arm edge rushers over the years. Not a lot of them. I did have a couple in mind the other day, and there's not coming to me right now, but it happens. It happens. I wouldn't think that those all-time greats from Kevin's Colts, Mathis and Freeney, if I had to guess, we'd have to look back at those numbers. Something tells me those were not the longest levered guys ever. Were they elite, great pass rushers? The answer is yes. Especially Freeney, for goodness sakes.
Freeney was kind of a different size guy. It wasn't
that's
necessarily just the arm length.
Big and long.
It was the shortness.
Yeah.
But obviously what made Freeney was the spin move. And then you had Mathis on the other side that could just do all kinds of crazy strip sack was mostly what he was known for.
But I guarantee if we look back at their numbers, they wouldn't. Yeah.
You're talking about Aaron Donald from the Rams, right?
Correct. And again, he came at it from the inside, but you still look at all those guys and you look at their arm length, and I'm just saying he did not have long arms. And you need it. You need all the leverage and everything you get. He was one of the greats. He became one of the all-time greats.
They brought up an interesting point, because I think the 3 things that define this draft are Arizona and whether they trade out or stay, and then David Bailey, Arvell Reese, that kind of who goes first and who wants what, and where Caleb Downs goes. I think those three really shape the front end of that draft really interestingly.
Yeah, and how about the point too, Kev, on Sonny Styles? Because there's always a little bit of hesitancy. He's great, and he may go way early, but you're still having to project a little bit. Not that he wasn't hugely productive, but when a guy has been more of an off-the-ball linebacker, I even think Micah was a little bit like that. Micah didn't play his last year at Penn State because it was during COVID and he sat the year out. But like, you have to have a little bit of projection in mind. Like you say, well, Matt, Sonny Styles had this many sacks or this many. Okay, that's fine. Where was he lining up? Where was he lining up throughout most of his career at Ohio State? If you showed me all those clips, I bet I would find him off the ball a lot in those cutups. You go, well, Matt, he look at what he did at the combine. I don't care. Teams still, when it comes down to it, are trying to go, okay, Reese, those other guys you just mentioned. Arvell Reese and David Bailey, for instance. With Bailey, there's no hesitancy. It's like, okay, where does he line up? Well, you just saw where he lined up. For one season, he was one of the most hell-raising players in college football. Oh, Tech didn't play well in the playoff game. Oh, wait, David Bailey did. I mean, they kept him in the game despite Texas Tech's quarterback. I mean, sadly, Baron Morton, beloved kid from West Texas, out there from Eastland, I believe, out there in good old West Texas. I had one of the worst games you can ever imagine in your life. And all David Bailey was doing during that game was just devastating. Just ending up at the quarterback over and over. Who was that? Oregon? Poor guy. I mean, it was just every time he looked up, there was David Bailey. Now, Arvell Reese is great. I've just watched Bailey more. But again, there's a good enough players and there's enough kind of hesitancy on Bain to possibly get Bain to 12. Now, then the thing comes, do you just wait for one of those great players to get to you? Or do you make a move? Like right now they have starting safeties. The Cowboys do. Are they great? No. But they're fine. They're fine. I mean, it definitely get you through a season. Like, what's Caleb Downs? Like, how much better is he than your starting safeties? Well, way better. I would say he has the potential to be like way, way better. But it's how you value the position. Do you want that game-changing safety, or do you want somebody that is going to step in and get you 10 sacks that first season? You say, oh, Matt, nobody does that. Oh, I don't know. I mean, Michael Parsons got you 13 his rookie season. Kevin, I think we could look over the years and find plenty of rookies who had great production right away without having to just mention like some all-time greats. You know, we don't have to mention, just the Myles Garretts of the world, the Von Millers. But again, those are part of the deal. I think if we look back at their rookie seasons, they would have been very productive right away. I mean, if you go back and you look at some of those greats from, I don't know, the big guy that the Cowboys brought on that was such a horrible character guy from the Panthers. What was that guy's name? Anyway, if you looked at his rookie year, I bet he was great. If you looked at
Julius Peppers.
No, let's be nice. Peppers was not a bad guy. Peppers was a good guy. You're guessing. You're guessing. Peppers had fine character. I'm thinking of like David, somebody, whatever the guy's name. The Cowboys brought him in. He had all these weapons charges and domestic violence, and he was David. Anyway, I don't want to get bogged down. He was
here are the rookies that had 10+ sacks their rookie
good.
year. Okay,
Good.
Micah Parsons, Bradley Chubb, Joey Bosa, and Javon Curse has the rookie record.
I was trying to think of
14.5.
Curse. I was trying to think of Curse a little bit ago. Yeah, because I was thinking about Titan somebody. Yeah. Okay. Now wait, you're saying the rookies that had at least 10 sacks.
Yep.
Is that
those
like
are
an
all the
all-time
rookies.
list, or is that like recent years? What is this?
That's like the recent ones. There have been 35
that have had 10 or more as a rookie.
35 players in history with 10 or more at the rookie
But you
year.
make the point that it's not a ton, but it does happen. It does
right.
happen.
And to your point, you don't have to go with a legend from the past either. It's not like offensive lines have gotten wiser against rookie rushers. It has happened consistently.
What was look at DeMarcus Ware's rookie season. I'm kind of curious now. You got me curious because I was there for that, and I remember him against Seattle. You know, that was the year you were either going to take the guy that ended up with the Chargers. There was a guy that Parcells kind of actually wanted, or Ware, and the Cowboys chose Ware.
8.
He had 8 his rookie season. Yeah.
Yep.
And he went on to be one of the greats of all time. DeMarcus Ware is now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Some of that is like what was his snap count, that kind of thing. Sometimes they get eased in as rookies, if you already had somebody. So,
and by the way, that was a 3-4 defense that put in, and so he was out there, and there was this, and Jerry's talking about it again, and it's just so foolish. There was some fascination with the fact that Ware could drop back in coverage. At some point, you're just like, why? I mean, why? Really? You're just so desperate. I mean, yes, he's a great athlete, but why, if a guy is unbelievable at rushing the quarterback, are you trying to drop him back? I guess to be a little bit unpredictable or something like that. But who was the guy I was thinking about, Kev, from that went to San Diego in that draft and played for Wade Phillips? Interestingly, then Wade Phillips would later become the head coach of the Cowboys. But that was the same draft. So one of them went, and the Cowboys had 2 first-round picks, I believe, in that draft. In
Sean Merriman.
Okay, Merriman. There was always a thought that Bill actually wanted Merriman. Cowboys take the Cowboys took Ware. They also took Marcus Spears in that draft a little bit later. My gosh, this is fun, Kev. I know we need to take a quick break here in a minute. I'm sorry. I tell you what, Kev, do you want to make up our breaks? Well, we probably need to take one here in a second. I did want to update you guys.
Let's take a break here in like 3 to 5 minutes, and I'll just make some up. Yeah.
Kevin, look at him. He's doing it. And we need to do the Schmaltz's trivia today as well. The Schmaltz's trivia. I feel like I need to do Masters trivia today, but we were having such good NFL talk. I just hated to get away from it. Kevin, just a quick update. We need a little sounder for our Masters updates. What could that be? Just use the same breaking news for now until we decide what we want to. I was trying to get Kevin to use something, and he decided he wanted to keep us actually on the air and not get us in trouble. But on radio, I always borrowed the Masters theme music. Nobody ever said anything to me, but I don't think people monitored radio as. See,
I was thinking of just using the Wii golf music.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, you've never played?
I have, but I don't.
Wii? Okay.
I have, but I don't remember it. It's like that was like 10, 15 years ago.
It's kind of that kind of piano, very similar to the Masters and yet different. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you're saying. The Wii. Okay, we can do that. Breaking news: McIlroy is going crazy right now. Rory McIlroy, and has gone 3 straight birdies, and he is at 8 under, and he's just rolling in putts. He's looking awesome. He is the defending champion. I think he's very relaxed. He's in a good place. He's got a 3-stroke lead all of a sudden. I mean, this thing has changed on a dime. He's 3 under for today, and he's just through 4 holes. He's birdied 3 of his first 4 holes to get to 8 under. Oh, I love this. They're going to Butler's Cabin and on Amazon Prime, and there's Terry Gannon talking to Jack Nicklaus. Wow. Kev, would that violate anything if we just pulled up Amazon Prime live right now to hear what Nicklaus is saying? That might get us in a little bit of trouble. Kev, also Justin Rose just birdied to get to, he's 3 strokes back. So, and he looked at the heavens when it fell in. So I don't know what that means exactly, but it was kind of funny because it looked like he was kind of, I think he'd missed a couple of real close ones. Now, Tyrrell Hatton just had one loop out. And if you know Tyrrell Hatton, the anger that burns within this man, and especially when he has a putt lip out, it's just almost too much to even imagine. All right. So we got that going on with the Masters. We had the breaking news, the Tunde Yesufu. And Kev, I was looking for my phone here, Kevin. Of course, I'm watching the Masters on my phone, so it's become a little more difficult. Kev, let's stay on top of any of these, portal things today. Jeff Goodman had the tweet earlier today, Kev, or X, whatever we call him now, that more than 2,000 players are now in the portal. And the good and the bad of this, it is exciting. It is exciting. But the bad is, like, when Baylor was in on a kid from San Diego State or somewhere, I think it was like somebody had been like the defensive player of the year, and he was an exciting player or whatever, and he chose somewhere else. And we get so into this thing. It's like, oh no, we've lost out. Listen, there are only 2,000 other kids to choose from. All right. I don't think Baylor not landing so-and-so is going to be the difference in them getting in the tournament or not. I mean, maybe the kid will be great. I don't know. The Bears did not land him. What you don't want to do is come out and like set the market. All right. And then like overpay. I mean, okay, think about it. Before we get too mad about things or scared about things, that one year they just spent huge money a couple of years ago on Jeremy Roach, bust. Norchad O'Meara, not a bust. Good player, but just kind of, it was a ton of money to spend on a 6'7", whatever he was, power forward who ended up having to play center because then the guy got hurt. Oh my gosh, how can I forget him? The big man, they were going to have him. They were going to have him next to a guy, and their big man who'd been with them for a couple of years was Josh O. Let's call him Josh O. Yeah, Josh. The big man Josh got hurt that season, and then the guy had to play center. Bottom line is Baylor decided that year to go all in on 2 players. One of them was a hit. Okay, we'll give that. One of them was a complete bust. Well, this past year they go big money on Michael Ratai. He busted out. All right, there's no nice way to put it. It was awful. And then they tried to they're like, well, maybe this kid from Wyoming can play point guard for us. No. Obi was not a total bust because, Agbim, whatever. He was not a total. Kevin, you see how quickly I move on from these players. Agbim Not a total bust, because he certainly had some shot-making ability, but not a hit. Let's not even try to make him out as a hit. He tried to defend. He tried to play point guard. He was awful at it. Isaac was a hit. Caden Powell was a hit. But again, these were low-money people that they brought in that were really nice players. So they've missed on some big fish, and that's why things have got to change and why they have to start getting this going a little bit. Yeah.
If you wanted to go big, like the Big Ten does in the middle, 7'1" Eric Ryba from UConn just hit the portal several minutes ago. It was announced.
Spell his name.
R-E-I-B.
Isn't it? Is it Reba?
It's Ryba.
They say Ryba. Okay.
Yep.
He's number 12. I like him. It just wouldn't. I probably would not pour like he just hadn't done it enough to pour like huge money. Like Badunga is a known product. This guy is a high ceiling product. I would
like
say,
Mara.
I would say though, beware of if a great place like UConn, if he's leaving an unbelievable place like that, buyer beware. I know they can't keep everybody. They got Demery and they've got Solo Ball and they got a lot of guys. They got Braylon, but I'd be very wary. Like I would be scared of that kid who just left Houston. Like if he can't get on the court for Kelvin Sampson, why do I think he's going to be a great player for me? Well, they didn't have room for him. I don't know. I mean, if Kelvin has a kid who can help him, I think he's going to get him on the floor. I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a kid who couldn't play for Kelvin Sampson. All right, Kev, let's take a
You're
break.
forgetting that Kelvin's broke.
Kelvin's so poor. It is the man, the myth. From Sikkim 365. His name is Ashley Hodge. He joins us next.
The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years, $3. 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair, May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
This year, I made a New Year's resolution. I want every business to own a new copier from CTWP. Call me, Leroy the Copier Dog. Let's get you a copier delivered today. CTWP, your local copier company.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Don't click on links in emails and text messages. Scammers send emails and texts that look real, saying there's a problem with your account or your order. Don't click. Don't do it, ever. Instead, go directly to the company's website and log in there.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
It is the Mosley Show, and we continue on. You see my 99 Masters hat. We do have Rory McIlroy is gotten it to 8 under, and what a day it is at the Masters. It's gorgeous. There'll be Masters viewing. I wish I could get our next guest to just come out with me today, sit on the patio, take life in. I've had trouble catching up with him lately because he's been in Vegas. He's been all over America following his beloved Baylor Bears. He's been on hikes. But today I have secured him. Ashley Hodge, Sick'em 365.
Good to see you.
Is back with me. Yeah, good to see you. He's at his standing desk. He's a man of great health. Ashley, welcome. I hope that you're having a nice time in the portal observing all this. I hated to see our friends that Jonathan Giovanni, get in a dispute. He feels like there's somebody from On 3 stealing his great work.
Joe Tipton, good dude. I don't know why he got after Joe, but yeah, that was fun to watch.
Have you ever talked to Joe Tipton? Do we know who this is?
I've traded messages with Joe. I haven't
have?
actually spoke to him on the phone, right?
Yeah. Is there someone? Okay, first of all, the Crown. Was that a good time? And I know there's good seats still available there in that arena. But
hey,
yeah, how was your time in Vegas?
I mean, it's mostly who you're with. I had a great time. I enjoyed Vegas a lot. Used it as a launching pad to the Grand Canyon and Zion National Park. As far as the basketball, it was good to see Baylor play a couple games, and obviously that Minnesota game was outstanding. But I thought Oklahoma would win that. I mean, they were actually playing at a top 15 level since March 1st, but West Virginia was just too gritty for them in that championship game. Came back from 10 down and won that thing. But I enjoyed Vegas and certainly enjoyed the surrounding areas and good to see guys like James Perry and Chris Charles Scott, Hob Howe. There's a few Bears there. Kendall Foote, former Bruiser back in the day. King Daddy Ice. I don't know if you remember that reference in the Bear Pit. There's some fun people out there.
The Bear Pit. Oh man, that was a place I tried to avoid. I also, when we were in school, the Cavemen for Christ. That was a group that would kind of hang out down there. That may have been formed right after your time there at BU. But, some of those. Do you think it hurt the Bears? Like, it put too much pressure on them having President Livingstone and the first gent that close to the bench? You know, that in that game against OU.
I don't think that had much of an impact on the final result, but they were got to interact with them a little bit. They seem to be having a good time as well. I got to drop a nugget on you. I don't know if you know this.
Please.
Tunde Yesufu was the first player in Baylor history, and it's a very long storied history, to ever go for 25, 5, 5, and 5 in a game. He had 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals against Arlington Baptist. And our good friend Carl Valenga actually sent me this commemorative card. I don't know if he paid thousands of dollars for this or under $10. I have no idea. But there's actually a commemorative card that memorializes that occasion. So if we've seen his last day in a Baylor uniform, we'll always have that little nugget that he's the first player in Baylor history to go for 25, 5, and 5 against what is Arlington Baptist? Are they the Patriots? I don't remember their mascot.
Coached by Bubba Jennings.
Yes, Bubba Jennings,
famous ex-Tech. That surprises me. Now wait, are you saying 25, 5, and 5? Are you saying it had to be like? Could it be assist and rebounds
and steals and steals?
And so 6 steals. So you had to have the steals as the part.
Yes. Okay. Or probably blocks. I mean, I'm sure they were. I don't think they would count turnovers in that category, because there would be a lot of guys that would fit that bill if they were going to count turnovers.
I was trying to think of like who I think over the years would have been the best candidate for something like this.
Right.
And it would either be like Chief Holcomb as a big who didn't mind sharing the ball a little bit. A little surprised Teagle didn't do something like this at some point.
Right.
Because Terry, I just don't.
He stuffed the stat sheet. Yeah.
I have no memory of Terry like tried to play defense though. Can you? It's hard for me to imagine. Like him in a defensive
or even
stance.
Pierre.
Tried.
Like Pierre had to have grabbed 5 rebounds at some game, and I think he had the 5 assists and 5 steals down, and certainly went for 25 points or more many times. But that's Tunde's 1 of 1 when it comes to that category, according to this commemorative card that I have.
Yeah, that's so
I haven't fact checked it. Yeah,
Carl and I show up in several the same social occasions from time to time, and
you got to get on him for not sending you this commemorative card as well.
He's been known to have a little bit of a heavy pour. I noticed him one time. I hope he's hearing this. I noticed him one time. He may have tried to call me out for this, but I'd like to put it back on him. But there was somebody had some very nice stuff, and felt like Carl gave it a pretty good, healthy pour. Anyway,
he's a man of discerning taste, no question about it.
I think he's tried to hold something up against me about that before. Okay, Tunde, this breaking news. Kevin, play the breaking news sounder for Ashley. I just think he needs to hear the official, if we can pull this off. This is the official break. We were having this discussion, Ashley. When you hear that sound, those of us that are, above the age of like 45, we know you say charge. And
right.
I think that happened at like baseball games and all that kind of stuff. Do you think people 35 and older, when they hear that sound, even know to say that? There are certain things that have been lost to time.
Yeah.
Think they know
35 and younger, you mean?
35 and younger, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good question.
Don't know it? Yeah.
I think it's probably not used as much as it was back in the day.
It's very important, I think. Okay, breaking news. Tunde Yesufu has declared for the NBA draft.
Right.
I think the immediate thought was what he didn't say, whether he's preserving it. We always have this discussion, he's thanked Scott, and there seemed to be a lot of closure involved in this. And my initial take was like, well, maybe this was a kind sort of quick decision in a sense to kind of help Scott and them make sure they don't wait and make sure they can go spend whatever money they need. But it's not like by making this announcement, he has ended his college eligibility or anything like that. What is your read on this? And are you still, I think the last time we had you on, you thought maybe Cam had a 15 to 20% chance that Cam Carr could be back. With Tunde, you were giving it way less chances. I think that was the way it is. Are you still kind of in that same range there?
I would flip it. I think Cam's going to stay in the draft. I mean, some of the latest projections have him top 20. And if he's in the top 20, he's going to stay in the draft. So Tunde, I don't think will be in the first round. I think he'll be a second round grade. And so I bet he returns to college. Now, the question is, will that be at Baylor or will it be somewhere else? I think if Baylor identifies a really strong point guard, and they're going to have 2 point guards with Isaac Williams. I think that's their goal is to start 2 point guards together or play them a lot together. Then I think there's a strong chance that if the money's in the ballpark, that Tunde will come back to Baylor. It's all fluid, but I think he's keeping that door open, and I think he likes Baylor. I think all the guys that have eligibility left really like Baylor, and it's all about playing opportunity and getting in the ballpark with the money. So I think we might not have seen Tunde's last games in a Baylor uniform, but I probably put it about 35-40%. So up from my last projection, let's put it that way.
That he might be back to Baylor.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
50% it sounds like that or even more, that he's in college basketball.
Yeah.
Next year.
I would say that's accurate.
Would he be a top 5 player? Okay, 2,000 players are now in the portal. I think we probably both agree he would probably be classified as a top 10 player in the portal. Or do you not? Am I giving him too much?
I don't know. It's a great question. I think I'm really high on his potential to be a great college player, especially in his second year. And I think kids, obviously our friend Rob Wright is chasing another bag after telling the fine people at BYU that if he was coming back to college basketball, he would be in a BYU uniform. But I think, you just lose something if you transfer every year. Now it's worked out for some guys. Obviously, Michigan had a whole team of transfers, but will Tunde be better at Baylor than he'll be somewhere else? I think so, because there's always a learning curve for these guys, and he already knows the system at Baylor. Will he be? Are you asking me if he'll be a top 10 player in college basketball next year, or just a top 10 player in the portal?
Portal.
I think it's borderline. I mean, there's some pretty good names in that top 10 already,
Do you not think Rob soaked it all in there in Provo? I don't know. I mean, it's just tough. Okay, why? Where would Tunde improve the most if he did come back to Baylor? Like, where does he stand? You've talked about, at times I do think he was still a bit of a defensive liability. He certainly has the skill set to be a better defender than maybe he showed this past year. So on the defensive side of things, and then his offensive game, where do you think he stands to grow the most?
Well, let's talk about the strengths first. He's got incredible strengths. First of all, he gets a lot of steals. He gambles a lot. He probably needs to pick his spots better in that area on defense. He's got to be better on the ball. Like, too many times guys blew by him off of straight line drives, but that's freshmen. That tends to happen with freshmen quite a bit. Good defensive rebounder, great offensive rebounder, really, really good in the blocks. I thought as an offensive player, he's just tremendous in the blocks. He's got to get better with his ball handling, but 3-point shooting, no question. Shoots a pretty flat shot. Sometimes will pump fake and then take a step back on his 3-point shot. I think he's ended up under 30% for the year. So I think, he's got to get that in the mid 30s to be considered a really strong NBA prospect, but he's got the tools. He's got a long wingspan. He's physical. He can score. He's a hard worker. One thing I heard about him, which I think speaks to his character, is he scored like 37 points against BYU, and I think his agent wanted to shut him down after that. Like, hey, your stock's never going to get higher. Let's say you're injured or whatever they would do to do that. And he said, no, I'm going to finish the season with my teammates. And he and Cam Carr did not have to play in that crown. I mean, they could have opted out, and they played. So I think that says a lot about the type of guy he is. And he's a hard worker. So I'd love to see him in a Baylor uniform next year, but I understand, it's a two-way street. Baylor's got to make decisions that are best for the team, and Tune's got to make a decision that's best for him. But hopefully it all works out and he's back next year at Baylor.
What do you see the makeup of the team being? Scott's got to get back to surrounding himself with great guards. You've already brought up another point guard.
Yeah.
They keep, a couple of years in a row where they lack depth at a center.
Right.
They lack height. They lack, size. Some of that you can blame on injuries. The Rob thing caused a ripple effect. But at some point,
Sure.
Scott joked about needing to recruit like he was going to have, or portal like he was going to have catastrophic injuries. And we talked for years about them having good injury luck. It has not been good recently. But again, nobody wants to hear that anymore, right? It's like, okay,
Right.
You got a clean slate again for the most part. Let's put a team together. Let's put a really good team together. Where do you see the emphasis being in this roster, and like when they finish with this portal, and who's coming in from a freshman standpoint, how do you see this team taking shape?
Well, I think you need 11 quality players. Like, going all the way to 13 is probably too much of an ask. But you got to have 11 guys that are expecting to play. Now, somebody's not going to be happy because by the end of, conference, or the beginning of conference, you're usually only playing 8 guys. But because of injuries, I think you need to have 11. So, I think to answer your question, you're probably going to spend, significant money on 8 guys, but then you're going to have 3 guys that you feel pretty confident in, putting in there to round out your rotation because of injuries. It'd be interesting, this 5 for 5 passes. I don't know if it's going to be retroactive. If it does, where they say, you have 5 years to play 5 seasons starting at your 19th birthday. If that does pass, then there's really never a reason to redshirt guys. Like, they might get burned, redshirting a guy like Mayo Soloye, who you redshirt, you develop him. Now, you didn't pay him much in NIL, but then, if he hits the portal, that's a bummer, because you're counting on him to be, a guy that you can fit in that rotation next year. But I think he would come back if the opportunity's there and the money's right. It's a difficult equation. But to answer your question, I think they're going to have to go get 5 really good players in the portal, and then hopefully they can surround that with, we know Isaac Williams is going to be in the mix. We know Jesslyn Bodo is going to be down there in the post, and then Elijah Williams is a terrific freshman prospect. So you have those 3. You got to go get 5, and then if you get a Tunde back, or you get a Mayo back, or a Michael Perez back, then I think your rotation looks pretty solid.
Have you seen Bodo before, like practicing at Baylor? Before,
yeah, but not
any of
healthy.
this?
Not healthy.
Okay.
He's been not at full contact, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can see what they like about him. He's got a 7'8" wingspan. He can get above the rim. He sets hard picks. His rebounding rate is tremendous. His shot blocking rate's tremendous. I mean, it's exactly what you would want from a big guy.
If you squint really hard, do you see like Merez Johnson from Michigan?
Not that athletic.
I was just trying to think of some of those great players.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Can you imagine Lindeborg thinking about him at UAB?
Yeah.
And he was good there, but like JUCO, just begging for an opportunity.
I know.
It's amazing how some of those guys, and then
Develop.
it's like,
Yeah.
wait, how Dusty May do this? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Dusty May has an interesting arrangement on his staff. he's got an associate head coach who's also basically his GM, right? And does a lot. Speaking of that, I think you and I both, and I've seen what you've written on the boards because I am a member, a subscriber. We both know that changes are on the way. And I think, you want to honor some of these people. You and I are, friends with a lot of these people and all that kind of stuff. So, but it's interesting. And now Alvin Brooks III did land. We saw that at NC State. I think everybody always asks you and I, is Jerome coming back? Is so-and-so coming back? You and I kind of have an idea of maybe what's about to happen. Let's talk in general, though. What do you think is going to change about the complexion of this staff? And what's the biggest tweak? What's the biggest change maybe they hopefully can make about the portal after really having back-to-back, and there's some bad luck and all that kind of stuff, but back-to-back bad portals.
Right.
What do you think might allow this to flip the most?
I think the biggest thing is that, Jason Smith, I know took a lot of criticism because he was the guy in charge of the portal, but we got to remember Jason Smith also found Isaac Williams. I mean, it wasn't like a 0% hit rate. Obviously there was a couple high profile misses. But I think that it was more a situation like, here's 5 guys that we need to focus on now, that let the staff decide. Whereas now I think it's more of an all hands on deck. Let's all watch film. Let's evaluate. Let's get our target list. I think it hasn't been announced, but I don't think there's any secret that Jake Lindsey is going to be a part of the staff and going to be really active in the evaluations of talent and really helping the team in that way. And I think they're going to 6 assistants now that can be on the floor as opposed to 5. So I would expect him to be that as well, kind of in that mold that Dusty May has at Michigan. So I think his fingerprints will be on this roster. If you really want to get depressed, speaking of Michigan, had Rob Wright hit the portal,
I know.
I think it's a good chance Baylor would end up with Elliot Cadeau, or at least been in the ballpark there before Michigan got involved. So
I think you and I have both unfortunately shared that news with our followers, and it does kind of bring about depression. Cadeau, they just re-signed to come back and run that team. I think, wasn't there also maybe like a Wisconsin guy that ended up being, pretty good guard as well, that they were maybe in on, but
Blackwell, that's going to get $4 to $5 million probably. whoever is willing to pay up for that. Yeah, he was terrific.
Oh man, yeah, that is great news. Well, this will be interesting to see how this plays out, and I just think people are, I think the people being frustrated with Scott and Baylor and everything, Baylor basketball, had a lot to do with what all happened in football, right? And what was happening in other sports. And Baylor just had the whole AD thing. And I think it was sort of a perfect storm. I think people like us actually kind of need to remind people, and I've tried to, Scott's track record and how unbelievable this thing has been. And maybe he's a victim of his own success. But I think it's important to remind folks that other big-time programs have had setbacks.
Sure.
It does happen. Now, of course, at UNC, if you have a couple of setbacks, you're gone, right?
Right.
At Baylor, I just think what Scott's done earns him a level of latitude that is sort of uncommon in college basketball. But even Scott understands that, this can't happen again. Like, not about his future, not about, I'm going to get myself fired. It's more about, we've built this thing. This is sort of an amazing thing that the Baylor community rallies around. We got to get this right. And unfortunately now that comes with what? Big money. If you want to get it right, you better give him some money. And then, of course, they got to get the process right.
Right. And I do think he'll have more money this year. I've said 50% more money than he had last year. Will that be top 20? I think it will be. Maybe it's 20 to 30, but it should be enough. Like, Michigan didn't have the biggest NIL budget last year. They just made really good decisions. And there's a lot of teams that had great, healthy NIL budgets that didn't do much. Kansas State comes to mind, Providence. Like, there's a lot of teams that missed the tournament that had really big NIL budgets. Indiana was another one. So, I think it's, Scott's paid really well. He deserves it. He's earned that. He's super competitive. I have no question that he's not like coasting into retirement. He wants to go out on a high note, whenever that'll be. So he's going to work tirelessly to get this right. And, I think he has a plan. And, as he said on your show, and I think he's told me, he's like, if we're not going to make the same mistakes, we might make different mistakes, but we're not going to make the same mistakes. I think there's definitely a process in place that they feel good about. So we'll see how it all unfolds here in the next couple of weeks. But I'm optimistic we'll have a really strong roster on paper, and then we just need some luck with injuries and chemistry. And but like, again, I said it earlier, what Scott is amazing at is, even as disappointing as this year was, they played hard. All the guys on the team played in the Crown. They seem to be engaged, having fun. They like each other. There's always going to be some internal turmoil when you lose, but overall there wasn't a lot of finger pointing. He just creates a great culture, great place to come to work every day, and that's attractive to a lot of people. And I think if he can just be a little bit more tilted towards competitive fire and toughness, and get some luck with injuries, I think we'll see Baylor back competing for Big 12 championships and hopefully making deep runs in March.
All right. And his character still does matter. And the baptism stats are still in good stead. Love those pictures. Some good. I don't know if we got Najee dunked or not.
That was one of the things I was most upset about. This girl I'm dating, we were in Vegas, and we were really excited because we're going to go to chapel on Sunday with the team, Easter Sunday.
Oh, nice.
And so we ended up going to a Catholic church. Our guardian angel, the only church on the Strip, fun fact, started in the 1950s. I think we were sharing Easter Sunday service with quite a few mobsters. If I was looking over the crowd, it was an interesting collection of characters. But we were bummed that Baylor didn't make the championship for that reason. We wanted to go to chapel.
Nice. Yeah. Who would have been leading that chapel? Has their chaplain maybe taken a step back, or kind of was there a retirement?
Might have been Pastor Brewer. He was there, but could have been one of the coaches. Who knows? They typically rotate that responsibility.
All right. I was a little worried about you getting close to a wedding chapel, but
no.
Those things can happen in a hurry up there. Ashley, good stuff as always, and I pursued you for a good while. You've been a very busy man as you track across the country with this team and all your other things. But I encourage people to read all your stuff on Siegmund 365 and the portal, and Grayson. I mean, he's putting together things as we speak, and Baylor's top targets. And so he does it when he's not, involved in pickup basketball. He really churns out some good stuff. And then on the baseball end, Levi's become a good pal of mine. And so I don't even know if you know this, but your guys, half of them are basically work for me, although it's kind of a not unpaid capacity. I'm getting ready to talk to the baseball coach. I'm like, Levi, help me here.
Yes.
What do we got? But Levi's a great guy, so I really like amazing. A lot of your staff. But thank you for doing this, and have a great one. Watch some of the Masters, get some of this beautiful weather, and we will talk to you soon.
Good to talk to you.
Okay, there he goes, Ashley Hodge, co-founder of Siegmund 365. Kev, he may prefer just founder. I mean, he's the main guy, but now Colt and Brian and some of the others, I could have been in there. I could have been on the ground floor, and in typical Mosley fashion, I was pursuing, wasn't really thinking. It would have been great. Although, but what a good job they've done, and they've become really a must-have when it comes to Baylor. If you want to follow Baylor athletics, you need to have a subscription to Sick'em 365. Really good portal information in there as we speak, and I would go over there. And I try to take advantage of Kev, some of those like every once in a while they'll have like new members specials. And somehow Colt has designed it where, Mosley cannot get one of the specials. So I have to always pay full freight, even though in the early days I was right there with them. But that's okay. I think that's probably appropriate that I have to pay full freight. It is the Mosley Show. Man, it's been a fun day. We came strong. We came out with like an hour-long first segment. Then we went right into Ashley. I'll tell you what we'll do now. To end the show today, Kevin has prepared a big-time Campus Confidential. And then, Kevin, let's do a Schmaltz's trivia question. We'll do that at some point, but we'll do Campus Confidential. We'll do that next.
At Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
We're celebrating the Declaration of Deals at Allen Samuels in Waco. Right now, get $11,000 off a new Ram 1500 Lone Star, plus 2.9% for 72 months. Cash in on $11,000 off a new Ram 2500 Lone Star Crew Cab, or choose 0% for 36 months, plus no payments for 90 days. Feel secure with America's best full-size truck powertrain 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
This year, I made a New Year's resolution. I want every business to own a new copier from CTWP. Call me, Leroy the Copier Dog. Let's get you a copier delivered today. CTWP, your local copier company.
The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years, $3, 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair, May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It's the Mosley Show, and it's been a good one. That wasn't that interesting, man. Having Ashley Hodge from Siegmund 365, and we'll have some of that out on social media for you in case you missed that live. For more shows like this, and for more on my take on the Masters and all, and the Cowboys, of course, I encourage you to sign up for the YouTube page, the Matt Mosley Show. Just search Matt Mosley Show. We got more and more people coming down and signing up, and so that is that's been really fun. And then a lot of people are watching on Twitter, and then they go to YouTube and sign up. And so anyway, it's great as we see the numbers continue to climb. You can't get to 10,000 without 5,000. So we got to 5, and then we just kind of keep watching them climb. So we're appreciative of that. And we've kind of done it organically because Lord knows I don't really know how to get out there and like promote that much. But we have people like Kevin and my buddy Brandon who do a good job of that. So I'm appreciative of all that. I did want to bring you just quick up to date on the Masters. Rory McIlroy, who was kind of almost running away earlier through 4 holes. He was 8 under. He had 3 out of his first 4 holes were birdies. He has dropped 1 shot, and he has a 2-stroke lead now through 6 holes. Patrick Reed, through 8 holes, is 2 strokes back. And then surging is now, Justin Rose had a fine day, shot 69. He's only 2 strokes back at 5 under. He's already off the course, but surging is Jason Day is through 9 holes, and he's now 5 under. He's 2 strokes off the lead. Now, that is a major championship winner who has kind of been in and out of the mix lately, and he's kind of an interesting story because he was on top of the golf world. Then he basically fell off the map, and now he's kind of rallied back to at least kind of be on the fringes again. So it is something to watch as we kind of continue to keep you up to date with the events happening in the Masters. And then Kevin, I was gonna, before we get to Campus Confidential, that's interesting. Okay, at the end. Oh yeah. Okay, great. Kevin was updating me on a couple of things. We did have some Colts news that we'll mention kind of during the closing of the show. That was interesting today because there is some thought from in Cowboy circles that a player that the Colts are looking to move might be a good fit for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, and that is something we might want to get to. So anyway, I'm monitoring the Masters. I've got my 99 Masters. I was trying to think who I was with, the 99 Masters. One of those years first time I went to the Masters was 96. I think that was the year, it might have been the year Norman fell apart and Faldo won it. That was my first year at the Masters. We just went to the practice rounds just to be on the grounds and check it all out. And I was with my late, great grandfather and my father, and man, we had just the time of our lives. My grandfather would have been about 78 years old or something, 77, 78, and we got him all around the grounds, and we had the greatest time. So that was 1996. We got great photos. And first time for me to be at the Masters. I was back, I believe, in 99 when Jose Maria Olazabal, and then I think we went one more time, perhaps in 2001 or 2002. I owe my bride a Masters trip, and she has because I've kind of selfishly, now we didn't get married until 98, so we weren't even dating, I don't believe, when I went in 96. But anyway, I do need to get her to Augusta, the Augusta National Golf Club. Okay, let's do some Campus Confidential. Kev, let's do that right now. And to do that, we turn it over to the man who matriculated there in the state of Indiana, Kevin Hoosier Hall. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So it was just announced while we've been on that JP Estrella has landed from Tennessee and is landing in Michigan. So
okay, knew that he was leaving Tennessee.
Right. Apparently, he was fairly impressed when with what he saw in person in the tournament.
Yeah, isn't that something? To play a team, that is the world we are in now. To lose, and then because of financial reasons, agents, everybody involved, you want to go switch and be on that team. Kev, what is Estrella? See, the way it's spelled, I want to call him Estrella, but I think you're doing it probably properly. Can you tell me Estrella's or Estrella? Give me his dimensions. Height-wise, is this a big 7-footer?
He's a 6'11", so almost.
With a huge
average
wingspan, I'm sure, but not as big
average
as Mara.
10 points a game, about 5.5 rebounds in about 18 minutes in 25-26.
So Adai Mara could come back, right? If he doesn't go in the draft.
Right.
So you compare Mara with Estrella. This is sort of like see, the thing that you love about Michigan, and again, they have all the money in the world. That was nice to hear from Ashley. Kev, wasn't it, that Baylor, he thinks Baylor will have a top 20 portal budget, NIL budget. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And 50% more than this past season when they ended up with two NBA draft guys. Well, wasn't that interesting also to hear him change his tune on Cam Carr and Tunde? Because he thought Tunde was gone and Cam Carr might stay. Now thinks Carr is almost certainly gone, with Tunde being a guy that'll likely slip to the second round. Interesting, because we've seen things all year where Tunde's been in the 20s.
Yeah. It's a
He's
stacked
big,
draft.
he's a great big, that's it. Very interesting information from Ashley on a lot of fronts today, but that's a good one, Kev. I had seen him, he was leaving, and now Ament, the kid from Tennessee, is slated to go where in the draft? Probably like top 10. Do we think Nate Ament, is that his name? The big really good player for Tennessee, true freshman, right? I think he'll go in the top 15 for sure. Is Ament a top 10 player in the draft? Maybe, yeah. It certainly could be. Where will the Mavericks pick? Oh, by the way, Kevin, if we have time, that's pretty. We need to do that NBA thing. That was funny from our buddy Windhorst.
Well, Michigan, also has. It was announced that Elliot Cadeau coming back for his senior season after leading Michigan to the national championship. Do you think this has to do with the draft class he would be paired with now, where he thinks he would fall, or is this genuinely he thinks he can come back and maybe win another one back to back?
It's just he's a second round NBA guy at best, based on his shooting, scoring, and maybe because of his pedigree and because of the national title run and all that, maybe he would have been a late first round, but I think he's a second round kind of guy. So what this is just, why not come back, make huge money, be on campus, maybe work on his game, maybe become a better shooter, become maybe a little more of a primary guy in the offense. But I mean, he's primary because he's the point guard. He's the one that distributes everything. So smart. Some guys don't understand. And the more and more, some of the great college players are coming back because they can make so much money. I mean, like, if Rob Wright made $3 million at BYU last year, what should Elliot Cadeau make at Michigan? He should absolutely make $3 million or more. I don't know what he's making. I mean, maybe he's giving them a hometown discount for 2 or 2.5. I don't know, but yeah, that's a great decision by the young man. So, and as Ashley and I have shared with our audience before, and we did again today, Elliot Cadeau, if not for Rob Wright, Baylor made a commitment to Rob Wright. Elliot Cadeau was very much thinking about coming to Baylor after he would come from UNC to Baylor. He said, well, Matt, why was that? Well, had some connections, and former Baylor assistant coach Bill Armstrong, now the McNeese State coach, coached this kid at Link Academy. Okay, always kind of you got to look for the connections. And so this would have been a great opportunity for Cadeau and Baylor, where for whatever reason, he had a little bit fallen out of favor at UNC. All he did at Michigan was go win a national title. And what happened at UNC? Oh yeah, they fired their coach. They have Mike Malone now as their coach. Oh, but yeah, his daughter plays volleyball there. That's great. By the way, I love Mike Malone. I just don't love the fit. I think everybody, because people are such kiss ups to UNC and people that maybe they get scoops from, that, this has been, they're really trying to spin this for UNC as some kind of great hire. And again, for an NBA coach, I would do anything for him to come coach the Mavs. So this is not about being anti-Mike Malone. This is anti-UNC Mike Malone.
Yeah.
And again, he may prove me wrong, and he may be great there. He is a great basketball coach.
I mean, the last time North Carolina hired a professional coach to be their coach, it didn't work out so well in football as of yet.
True. Yeah. And again, that's kind of what they do now is they seem to do that. Sir, what else do you have for us today?
Speaking of Michigan, we've talked about the Triple Crown, but this is where the Big Ten stacks up right now in all sports. Football, men's and women's basketball, wrestling, field hockey, water polo, men's soccer, women's hockey, number one in baseball right now, gymnastics, and 2 of the Frozen Four. Incidentally, also 2 of the Final Four in basketball as well. We've been saying for a while that the Big Ten is taking over, and we've gotten a lot of flack from SEC folks because we were specifically talking about football at the time. But do you think this rings true? And why would you say this is? Is it simply just because there are 2 more teams that the Big Ten has than any other conference? Or is this a for real, legit kind of takeover?
What's that SEC slogan? It just means more or something like that? Or
So does it mean more when you lose?
I don't know, man. I still think football wise and everything, it's not like the SEC. Oh my gosh, they're not a power conference anymore. It's still, but the bottom line is winning.
Last 3 national championships.
The bottom line is winning. And there are certain things you can't really compare because in the South, we don't do hockey.
Right.
So we don't, in the West, you do have out in Colorado, Denver University, you have a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, we don't care about that. I would say, I got to look at this. Why does it say women's gymnastics chalk? What does that mean?
Is that a specific
I don't know what that
type
means.
of gymnastics? I don't know.
No, yeah. That's weird. I do think, sir, like LSU is great at women's gymnastics. There's some things that match up. Baseball, I'm not ready to hand it to them. I think right now the reason it's listed down there is because UCLA, are they ranked number 1 in the country right now?
Yeah.
Is that the deal?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think the ACC bites at it every once in a while, but I think the SEC and LSU is having a rough time this year. They've had some bad losses, but I'm not ready to hand. I still think because of where, and I know USC to UCLA and just how dumb all this is are out there, but I'm saying most times because of the weather, the Big Ten is not a good. It's not known. I'm not saying they don't have good runs, Kevin, so don't start citing.
I get it.
But they just don't do as well in baseball.
Yep.
Let me look at this. Now, women's soccer is not listed here because Florida State won it all in that. We just don't care about polo and field hockey down here and things like that. So I will give them that. We'll give them all of those things. It's extremely impressive. I would say concerning is that this part of the country, if Penn State won in wrestling, that's concerning because Oklahoma State and some others are unbelievable. And Iowa, well, I was in the Big Ten too. Yeah. I think you just have to say they own everything right now. It's just you have to tip your hat, and hopefully what it drives everybody to do is just get better. Get better. Think about how for years, because of Duke and UNC, we just thought of college basketball, the ACC, that was just immediate. Well, the ACC's the best.
Right. And then the Big East for a little bit.
Correct. And now we kind of, of course, the Big 12 likes to think of itself as the best. And unfortunately, the Big 10 this year, if you're just looking kind of at the tournament rankings and everything, they just outperformed everybody. So, yeah, I think you got to give it to them. And plus, the football is what matters the most to most of us. And not only did they already have it with Michigan and Ohio State those previous years, but now Indiana looks like it's going to stay around under Signetti. And I would say
USC came on strong at the end too, and Washington.
In football?
Yeah. USC was kind of right there trying to put themselves in that playoff conversation there toward the end.
Yeah.
And now they have Gary Patterson.
Yeah, I love him. And we had Gary on the other day on this show, but I'm not ready to and I'm still just not ready to accept them in the Big Ten. It's just so stupid. I don't even like thinking of them in that context. But this man, all of that stuff is interesting to talk about, but this man is really all we need to talk about because most of these sports, let's be honest, we don't care about. This man has changed college athletics without even looking at all these other sports. And that needs to be honored, and that can't be talked about enough.
Speaking of that,
what do you got? What do you have for us?
What are your thoughts on the only 5 years of eligibility past your 19th birthday that the NCAA is considering?
Okay. So the rule is, wait, say that again. Say what you said again.
So it's they're proposing only 5 years of eligibility past your 19th birthday. No red shirts, no extra years, nothing like that. They're trying to trim out the whole. I'm a professional in college.
5 seasons in 5 years. It's a little more cut and dry. Kind of eliminates the red shirt to a certain. I mean, really, there's no incentive really to redshirt. I think it's a step in the right direction. You have 5 years. I mean, like, and it prevents the guy like that just played against Baylor for OU that started at K-State and was there for like 2 or 3 seasons, then was with Miami for like 3 seasons, and then played this last year for OU. It's just dumb. It makes a mockery. We've already made a mockery out of like the collegiate experience, right? In terms of like, oh, let's get an education. Let's get well, okay, hopefully some of these people get their degrees. But how do you do it when you've been to like 5 or 6 schools and all that stupidity that happens? So I'm for anything that just brings a tad bit of reason to collegiate athletics.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things. This is not fix everything. I mean, think about it. You're still, you're not eliminating, this does not address the G League player, right? That you're still now out here getting, I mean, this does not, because it says you got to, start at the 19 age. I don't think this eliminates the 25-year-old G Leaguer from coming back to college. I mean, that still would be interesting to address that, but there seems to be nothing on the books to prevent that. I still don't think we have anything on the books that addresses this JUCO mess. Oh, well, they went to JUCO, so, that didn't count. Why? It counted for generations. Why did we suddenly decide that going to a JUCO doesn't start your clock? I mean, there's no great reason for this other than somebody won a lawsuit, and other than the NCAA being weak and getting beat over and over in court. I think they finally won a lawsuit recently, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is a bigger upset than Indiana winning a national title. Sir, did you want to play that last little thing, or did you want to talk about the NFL real quick, or did you have another college thing? We got time for one of those.
That's all I've got. So you can bounce it wherever you want to bounce it.
Let's tell us real quick, Kevin. Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
Kenny Moore is this. He's a cornerback, right? And can he play? He can play the nickel.
He is a slot corner.
Nickel corner.
That's what he does. Pretty much exclusively. He's had to bounce it to the outside with some injuries the Colts have had, but
why have the Colts decided? Why have they given him permission to seek a trade?
I haven't read the full article. I was just but to me, this had me feeling like Dan Hurley's mom, like, holy flipping crap. What in the world? And after spending what they did on a hurt quarterback and a deep threat receiver, I think this has got to be out on all Indianapolis news stations right here. Like, Chris Ballard has to be on his way out at this point, because Kenny Moore is one of the best slot corners in the business, and for them to get rid of that doesn't make sense. Lou Anarumo, it's a perfect fit because Lou loves to blitz that slot corner all the time. Kenny's great at that. This doesn't make sense.
Well,
but
it's
simple
could be great
for the Cowboys.
Yeah, to finish that point. We don't get too far into this, but
yeah,
Sauce Gardner and Charvarius Ward, the huge contracts that are involved there. They are leading the NFL right now. Colts are in salary cap spending at the cornerback position in 2026. What this does, a pre-June 1 trade would save the Colts more than $7 million in salary cap space.
Right. After spending more than $200 million on one quarterback and one receiver.
They owe more $10 million in base salary and per game bonuses this season, which if it would save if he is traded, could complicate the trade a little bit. Okay, it says, by the way, your second-year cornerback, Justin Wally,
yep,
would step in and
right.
try to play. He had
he was
one
looking,
interception. Yeah.
He was looking really good. He tore his ACL in training camp or in the preseason somewhere.
Yeah.
So
all right. So to your point, golly, Moore's been around now for a long time. 21 interceptions,
9 seasons.
6 forced fumbles, selected to the Pro Bowl in 2021. Still a nice player, veteran guy. People brought up the Cowboys because let's remember Bland, good player, but hurt a lot. They're needing a new corner. They did address the cornerback position in free agency. They got the Rams, the guy from the Rams. Just remember, PJ Locke came in. So they addressed safety with Jalen Thompson, who can play from the Cardinals, who can play the slot. But they got Bland. They obviously cut Diggs. So their Cowboys are in need to bolster their secondary. They will be looking in the draft. Here is a veteran option. What will the Colts be looking to get for him? Well, once you tell a guy they can pursue a trade, you kind of lose a lot of the leverage. This is not the NBA. And the truth is that the best you could get for a 9-year, nice player. But I would think that especially, if they're trying to get this money off the books, at the best they're going to get is like a 5th or 6th round pick for Kenny Moore. And again, no offense to Kenny Moore. He's been a great player. But when you get to this age and you're trying to move this money off the books, you're not going to land that much for him. So it could be as low as a 6th or 7th round pick. And that is how you do it at the NFL. So we'll see how this plays out. And been a good show today. I had one funny thing for you, but we'll save it. We were talking about some of the.
You're talking about the NBA thing? We should. Yeah. It's for tonight. We should do it.
Okay. Hey, but by the way, Kevin, when Wendy stops talking, let's just cut it off.
I've shortened it a bit. So
okay, good.
Yeah,
good. This is who's playing tonight, Kevin? This is between
it's the Grizzlies and the Jazz. So
the Utah Jazz. Yeah.
Not the top of the draft order. This would be for like that kind of cutoff at the 4 position.
Yeah. 2 teams that have been trying to tank like crazy. And the Jazz have been fighting hard to tank. The Grizzlies have been really, given their lineup and everything, desperately trying to tank. Major tank game. What did Brian Windhorst have to say about this battle tonight?
Tanking Super Bowl. I think it merits what we have to watch tonight. We've worked for months to get here. The teams have worked hard. We have arrived. I give you the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Utah Jazz, a game that nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to win. If Memphis wins this game, they could lose 7% chance at the top 4.
God.
If Utah wins this game, they could lose 10%. Do you know what Utah has gone through? They could lose 10%. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Memphis has 12 players out tonight.
I think it legit might be 13.
And another who's listed as doubtful. 90% of their salaries are on the bench tonight. Utah has 8 players out tonight. Peter, you think I am kidding what I'm about to tell you. I am telling you, if you showed up on the bench and dressed in a Jazz or Grizzlies jersey, the coach would not only put you in the game, he would run plays for you. This is going to be theater.
This is going to be theater. What do you call it? The tanking Super Bowl. Oh, what a mockery. What a mockery of our great game. We love the NBA. Kevin loves the Pacers. I grew up a Mavs fan before I started covering them. I was in the junior Mavs club as a kid when they first came into our lives in that 1979-80 season. I was there as a 6-year-old at those games. And and they've made a mockery of our great game with all this. Wow. What a day. What a day that has unfolded. We've got the Brazos Landing. We land here every day. Kevin, let's do a quick Schmaltz's trivia question, by the way. Trivia Thursday. We didn't do a show Thursday because I was at my grandmother's funeral. Yes, I'm a little old to have a grandmother. But she lived to be 100 and almost 103, which is how that happens. But we miss her, but what a beautiful celebration it was. It is time, though, for Trivia Thursday. Schmaltz. Oh, the Schmaltz. Kev, would you like me? I'm going to do this. I've been thinking about this. I'll do Masters trivia. All right. Okay, I saw this as a good one earlier today. The best Thursday opening rounds the year after somebody won the Masters. And yes, this guy was in the field today. He is playing in this Masters. Basically, here's what we're at. And boy, you go back and Nicholas, I'll give you some help. Nicholas won the 75 Masters, and then his opening round in 76 was really good. But he's not the best ever. The best round ever as a defending champion. All right. You just kind of have to think back on some of these players that won the Masters, and then they came back and they were defending it the next year, and in their opening round on Thursday, who in that case has had the lowest round? I'm going to help you just a little bit. He's from Dallas. But I know where I just sent all of you guessing. And it might not be who you think. Might not be who you immediately started thinking about. This young man went to high school in the Dallas area from our Fairburg, or where I live. There's your trivia question. You can come at me at Matt Mosley, MattMosley. You don't have to even just give me the player. Give me the name of the player. You'll get 2 free sandwiches to Schmaltz's, the greatest sandwich shop in all of Central Texas. All right. That is the question. In fact, in the past, I've had this player's dad on quite a bit after he wins majors. Thank you, Brazos Landing. We'll be at the Brazos Landing on the 15th. So major tax day implications, April 15th. Thank you very much. Cannot wait to be at the Brazos Landing. That'll be next week. John Morris and I will be doing special shows on site. We have a beautiful little location for it. It'll be a gorgeous day. I wouldn't mind being outside, but Kevin will probably want to have more of a climate-controlled situation. But John will do his show on a special deal at noon, and then I'll come on at 1 o'clock. And so from 12 to 3, Mosley and then it'll be J-Mo, John Morris, and then the Mosley Show. This is one of the most anticipated local shows of the year. 12 to 3. First with John at 12 to 1, Mosley from 1 to 3. John and I are good buddies, and so who knows? We may even have a little crossover. I may try to have him just stay on the show for a little while. All right. I'm sure he has something very important to go do, but you never know what we may try. All right. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you, Kev, for going late today. My gosh, we went 8 minutes. We usually get out at 2:55. So we've gone 13 minutes over. I'll be submitting some overtime pay. on my next. No, I don't think that'll go over too well. I mean, even just sending in my. Anyway, Kev, thank you, buddy. Good work from you today. That is a good, solid couple of hours in the books. We'll see what history does to that. Brandon, our buddy who does a lot of our stuff, he's already working on some of our material to get it out there to you. For Kevin Hoosier Hall, I am Matt Mosley. I think today is Friday, so please have a tremendous weekend, and then we'll see you on Monday. Good night, everybody.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we asked Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now! I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.